This video that you're about to watch is a 15-minute CRO audit that I filmed for a 7-figure Shopify brand from the interior design niche. Now, I made this audit super simple so that you can take those insights and test it out on your own store and make a lot more money. Now, please let me know in the comments if you like this kind of content, and now let's dive straight into the value. So my promise until the end of this video is that you're gonna know exactly what needs to be done in order to raise your conversion rate and make a lot more money from the same traffic that is being sent to the website. In case you don't know what do, we partner up with 8-figure Shopify brands and we help them increase their average order value, conversion rate, and make a lot more profits through A/B testing, data, and consumer psychology. So I'm gonna dive straight into it. I took some notes, I went on the website, spent some time on it, and there are just so many things to be done. Today, I'm not going to touch upon everything, but my promise is that I'm just going to share a lot of value. So I'm going to stay on mobile, and I'm going to start first with the homepage. As I said, as I was going through the website, I found a lot of friction points. So now I'm going to discuss about them and a couple of things that can be potentially done in order to make a lot more money. Now, first things first, I noticed that the website is primarily optimized, I would say, more for desktop, which is quite concerning because a lot of the traffic comes more from mobile, most probably, on majority of the stores. But there are some changes that I can notice that have been done for this for mobile too. So this thing, for example, is really good. I'm not really sure if it has been A/B tested, but what is not really that good is the size of this. It's 10 pixels, and for the majority of the users, let's say that you have somebody that is 35, 40, 50, whatever, as time goes, some people start to, their eyesight decreases. So this is why the minimum is 14 pixels. Even if the outdoors might be half taken out, at least all of the other ones will be easily noticeable. And right now, as you enter on the website, you have this effect on the first second. It is like you have to zoom in a little bit, like to get closer to the phone or the laptop or whatever in order to see it. So I would just make this bigger. Now, the first thing on the homepage is the announcement bar. This one piques my eyes. So there are just so many brands that we have tested this, and I like the fact you have social proof right here. The problem is number one is not clickable, and if it's going to be clickable from now, just take them to the bestseller collection page or to the shop all collections. This is number one. Number two, make sure that you have 3 instead of 1. And I don't mean to clutter them and put them all in one, excuse me, but I'm going to show you something that we have done for one of our clients that I can share this data with you. Um, Back in the days, they were having something similar to you guys, and we did research using surveys. We understood what are their customers' desires and pain points, and we transformed those into USPs. And in this case, we have afterpay payments, we have the free shipping, which is an offer. We talk about the offer and social proof exactly as you. This change alone, just by having just one, I would say USP or some sort of social proof, moving to 3, and people having the flexibility to play around with it, added 60,000 extra per month. It's crazy. It's insane. So why this is so impactful is the fact that wherever the traffic comes from, it's either SEO, Google Ads, doesn't matter. This section is called the above the fold. In this area, 100% of the traffic sees this section, and as they start to scroll, some elements might get hidden, some others they're not, but the visibility decreases. So all of the elements that are in the above the fold section are super crucial. So this is number one. Now, the other one, the next thing that I'm seeing is that we have a carousel slider. We have tested it so many times. I spoke with so many of my colleagues from the field. This is just not working. And the reason behind it is that more messages means no message. So we want to keep one simple message and just keep one. And the majority of the times, if you have a drop or something new, just put it in there for some time, or you have like an offer, just put it in there and then just leave all year round the shop all or whatever it might be. If you would have a quiz, for example, if they are not sure, this might be one really good idea to have a quiz, for example. Yeah, so this is another thing. Now, next one, which is super crucial for all of the stores that have multiple SKUs. One, make sure that you add a name to this. For example, this one is super clean, but we have seen this doesn't work for all those the stores, but just adding the name, for example, menu, search, cart, it's as easy as that. It still improves the conversion rate because now customers know exactly what that element is. Even if it seems stupid, people need to be spoon fed just like babies, and we have to make it super, super easy. Now, back to my point, clicking on this, if the store has multiple SKUs, the search bar right now is very simple as I press on it, and there is a problem with this. So, let's say I'm gonna type um, wood or something exactly. This is really nice. The fact that we have suggestions right here. What would I like to do right here is exactly as I press on the search button, is before I start to even think, I want to know what are the popular search terms or the suggestions you can call them, and you can find that in the backend of Shopify. You can find the data of what are the most frequently typed terms, and based on that, you can just show it in here. This creates something that we call in the psychology, we call it cognitive ease. If there is cognitive ease, you guys will just end up making more money. This is common sense. Next is we notice that if the store has a lot of SKUs, this one could stay here, or it can be just A/B tested. But I would take this bar and I would just make it just like Amazon, super huge. Imagine that customers, when they come on the store, they are just like, I don't know exactly where to look, what to do, and we just have to give them all the tools, super easy. So we either show it site wide, a big search bar that will, in the moment that you will do that, this search bar will start to be, will get more engagement. If it gets more engagement, and if we make it super easy, we take it to the next level. We show the suggestions before they even start to type. We do that. We reduce the anxiety and the friction in them to start thinking and typing. That's when the user experience improves. And because there is more engagement on that, they get to where they want faster, and you end up making more money. So I hope that this one blends in and it makes sense. Now, going back to the mobile menu, or going to the mobile menu because I haven't spoken about it. So make it visual. So add images to collections. And I saw that if I press on shop all, for example, oh, this is a weird bug. Let me refresh. As I press on shop all, right now, if I press on shop all first, I see shop all, which is in a way it's uh, quite confusing. I would maybe just rename this. But next, what would I do is I would just make all of these photos just smaller, and I would just put them here as visuals. And I saw that this is coming from desktop. This is why I said that some parts of the website are optimized for desktop first, but here we just repeat ourselves. And there is just why would we do that in the first place? So we could just take everything that we have here and just make it extra visual, even if it's a little bit smaller. Now, another thing that I would do right here is removing the socials, because we want to keep them on the website, and we don't want to for them to leave the website. We want to keep them on site in their buying journey and make sure that they end up purchasing. Now, if we clean up this whole section with images, we would erase, let's say, even if by a couple centimeters, we would erase and we would make some space. Because we have that, we will have the luxury to have some space in here to introduce unique selling propositions and testimonials. And why would we do that? Is that we want to tackle their most frequent objections that they have in their subconscious mind as they buy. It can be price, it can be size, it can be quality, it can be trust, and you find that by surveying your customers. It's done, and it can be. We basically do that through post-purchase surveys and through email surveys. We email your customers that bought in the last 12 months or 24 months, and we find all of their desires, pain points, keywords, or terms that are triggering them to buy or to they become anxious, and we use that language in testimonials, and we would likely want to take real testimonials, not just fake ones, and tackle those objections. And as they start to shop around the website, when they get to the checkout, they have less anxiety. If they have less anxiety, you will end up making more money. So this is where the data meets psychology, and this is how brands just make a lot more money when they apply these kind of principles. I know that these things sound quite simple, but don't just take my words for it. But I wouldn't just take this and implement it, but make sure you A/B test it every single time, because I'm no god. I don't know exactly how people are interacting necessarily. This is why the data needs to speak for itself. Now, moving on to the next thing, I would like to go into the PDP a little bit. So I'm going to go to, let's say, shop all, and I'm going to go right here. Awesome. So I really like the fact you have the video right here, which is pretty cool. Now, I would like you to remember what I said in the beginning about this being the most important area. This is called the above the fold. You can think of it as the elevator pitch. You have 3 seconds to show as much information as possible to your customers without bombarding them and without making your website too clunky. So what would I do in this area is, side note, tangent. If this is not true, is 141 people bought this, because I saw when I pressed on samples, it's also so 141. This is quite scammy, so just make sure that this is real. And if it is, then let's just move on to the next thing. So as you start to scroll lower, less and less traffic will see all of the good stuff that we have right here. It's crazy. I would like to back it up with some data. This is again the same client. This is just a tool that we use. It's called heatmap.com. And as you can see, from on this PDP, from 3.3 thousand visitors, 99% of the traffic sees this area, obviously. But as they start to scroll lower, we can see that in here it's 66%. Here it's 49%, 48%. As they get to the description and to all of the good stuff that it's underneath, even if this is a very clunky description and needs to be redesigned, in this area, very few people see it. So it's our responsibility to make it a no-brainer for them to make a decision as fast as possible. And we do that by reorganizing this section, which is called the buy box. So what would I do if I would be you guys? I would just take these unique selling propositions and just make them, shorten them up and squeeze them a little bit in this area. Because this is a high ticket product, another thing that I would do, I would give them the option and show them that they can purchase using Klarna or Shopify in installments. This is really, really good for high ticket products. And instead of having just maybe add to cart for the, not for the samples, but for the products that are more expensive, I would just give them the option, instead of just add to cart, just choose your installments, 2, 4, 6, whatever the options might be. We can just make them as buttons. This will help so much to decrease the purchasing anxiety so much. Like, yeah. Another things, these are super, super cool. And nobody really sees them, and nobody really sees all the good stuff and the unique selling points. So it's our responsibility to play around. Oh, give me a second. So it's our responsibility to squeeze them either into the images, because this is the number one thing that they do, is once they land on the PDP, they just start to scroll. So going back to this, if we move those USPs higher, we can put them into 2 areas. We can either put them in this section as bullet points, we can add some icons, or we can introduce them inside of the images. Images, copy, and offer are the 3 big levers that we could do to pull in order to make so much more money. The rest is just content testing, and they are not as important as is the offer, the images, and the copy. So the second thing that we could do is just squeeze them inside of the photos, because the thing that they do is once they land on the PDP, this is exactly what they do. They just scroll and they want to get information fast. So this is why this is so, so important. Now, in the cart, exactly as I would do in the mobile menu, I would just take a different testimonial and I would just fit it in right there, just because we want to remove the anxiety levels or to tackle their objections. And in case people don't use the add note, which is an optional thing, we do that by studying heat maps. I would just remove it altogether. And in here, I see that you guys offer the Shopify. So this might do really well if it's A/B tested. If it has been A/B tested, then yes, let's keep it. But if not, and we could do 2 things: 1, remove it, or 2, just show them, like, use Shopify and pay with installments, and you just show, based on the subtotal, and you can just chunk it in 4 pieces. This will remove the purchasing anxiety. Now, I also saw the checkout. It's pretty simple. There are just so many low-hanging fruits that could be done. So yeah, I would really love to know your feedback. There are just so much more things that could be discussed, done. Yeah, and I wish you a good day. Please let me know.